What is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 280 of the Fight Podcast, the greatest combat sports and culture show in the entire universe. I'm your host, Serg Vicente, and this is episode 280, Morning Coffee and Fight News. How's everybody doing today, man? I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Since this is Morning Coffee and Fight News, let me go ahead and take my first sip of the day. I hope you guys are having a great morning. All right, man, hope you guys had a good holiday weekend. On today's menu, before we get into it, let's let you guys know what's on today's menu. On today's menu, we're going to go ahead and talk about a lot of Bellator actually today. Bellator Showtime 1 or Bellator 255 was this past weekend. Great card. A lot of big things came from that. Also, we're going to go ahead and talk about this week what is going on with Bellator 256. The light heavyweight tournament is continuing, so we're going to go ahead and deep dive into that. One championship is going to be talked about today. One championship has their first one on TNT. So one on TNT is an amazing thing because now we're actually getting one championship fights on American broadcasting. So that's dope. We're going to discuss that. We're going to talk Jon Jones, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, and so much more in this episode, man. So let everybody know, all of your fight fans, everybody in your life, let them know about the greatest combat sports and culture of the entire universe, the Fight Podcast, and tell them to check it out right now. For all of our friends, family, and everybody listening currently on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, I appreciate you guys checking us out. Remember, listen to the Fight Podcast everywhere podcasting is available. Google Play, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud. Check us out at thefightpodcast.com. Like, subscribe, share, and also check me out at the Serg Vicente on IG, okay? All right. Hope you guys, like I said, had a good weekend. It was a holiday weekend. I didn't do that much very festive. Like I think I told you guys before, this is my first full year here in LA, so not that much family out here. So my lady and I we hung out. We ended up watching the Versus battle. So it was Earth, Wind, and Fire versus the Isley brothers. If you did not have an opportunity to check that out, I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. You need to check it out. I'm telling you, it felt like Saturday mornings cleaning the house growing up. It was amazing. So we had a good time hanging out, watching that. So I hope you guys had a good one. I know there was a lot of great fights, and there's so much fight news that dropped this weekend. I'm be honest with you, I don't know if the UFC planned it this way to kind of poo-poo Bellator's big day, but fam, they absolutely did that. They shit on their day with some amazing news. So we're going to talk about that, but let's go ahead. Anything else? I'd definitely be remiss to talk about this. I want to kick it off by saying thoughts and prayers to the legend DMX. DMX unfortunately sounds like he had an overdose, unfortunately, and he is still in intensive care in New York. So hopefully everything's going to be okay with DMX. I know he has demons. I think all of us understand he has demons, and all of us do. And unfortunately, this is happening. This is a good time, and I know we have our boys from Mind Lock who come on here and talk mental health, and I think I'm going to have them come on at some point very soon and actually doing a full episode. But, mental health is legitimate, man. It's something that we really need to go ahead and actually take into account and respect. If someone's saying that certain things are wrong with them or anything, or if people are reaching out for help, let's not shit on them. You know what I'm saying? Let's not shit on them. Let's make sure we're going out here and actually honoring and respecting mental health as a real disability. And I'm talking about actual mental health, not like when these fucking white boys go out there and shoot up a goddamn school and everybody, wants to say it's because of mental health and not because of white supremacy. Not those guys. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm actually talking about actual mental health issues and things of that nature. So salute to DMX. Hope he gets well very, very soon. Not only the world needs him, hip hop needs him, New York needs him. Get better soon, DMX. All right. Let's go ahead and shift gears a little bit. Let's actually talk about something a touch a bit more positive, and that has to be Bellator. Bellator MMA, guys, has finally made the move. They are with Showtime. I know over the last year or so, I've really shit on Bellator. And the reason I've shit on Bellator is because of their deal that they had with DAZN. I couldn't understand it. DAZN does not have a good representation or real audience here in the United States. It seems like in the UK and shit, they do a good job. Diehard people are going to go ahead and download the apps, but at the end of the day, they're not putting out quality content enough, and they're not advertising these fighters. So Bellator really over the last year and a half to 2 years became an afterthought to the UFC in the sense that PFL has caught up. And not only has the PFL caught up, they have started taking some of those names that Bellator definitely would have gotten in the past. Prime example, Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis is a former UFC champion who is, I don't want to say he's aged out, but he is not where he once was. Most of those guys in the past would have just went over to Bellator. It wouldn't even been a question, to the point that even his brother in Sergio Pettis, love the name, love the fighter. Dude is a beast. And while I'm talking about them, shout out to Roof Sports. I love those guys over there. Raytheon Superstats, my boy, is on there. He's actually fighting on this upcoming card as well, I believe. He's down there in Vegas, so we'll try to get Super on the show very, very soon. But those were the type of guys that would have originally gone to Bellator. Somebody who was a little bit more of a veteran in the game, they go there. But now they're going to the PFL. They're going to One Championship. There are so many different options. And that's really why today I really want to go ahead and talk about some of these other options. If you really think about it, the UFC, yes, they're the biggest name. They're the NFL, right? I can say that. They're the NFL. They're the biggest known organization, but they're not the only professional organization. They have, I will say, from top to bottom, the most talented fighters. But at the end of the day, at the very top, I'm talking about the top 3 to 5 guys in each division. All these other weight classes and all these other organizations have comparable athletes. And I really want to bring to light some of these amazing, amazing athletes. But Bellator has shit the bed over the last year with being with the Zone. So the fact that they've left the Zone and finally partnered with Showtime, who has been starving for this type of shit. MMA is the fastest growing sport in the world. We all know that. Come on, man. You wouldn't be watching this show if you didn't know that. But one thing that we have to, take into account and stuff, that now that they're with Showtime, Showtime has always had an amazing presence in terms of combat sports. For those who do not know, Strikeforce used to be there. So Showtime and Steven Espinosa, the head man over at Showtime, has an amazing relationship with Scott Coker, the head guy president of Bellator. They worked together when he was with Strikeforce. He left, and now they're back. That is an amazing relationship. Think about all the amazing fights that Strikeforce had. Strikeforce at the time brought the life of Tyron Woodley, Daniel Cormier, Luke Rockhold, Derek Brunson, and the list goes on and on. There were so many Yoel Romero's. There's so many amazing guys that actually came from Strikeforce. And even to a point in time, at one point in time, all the big champions actually were guys that came from Strikeforce. So they have a relationship. And one of the things that I really wanted to see, because here's the thing, with the Zone, the production value was ass. Just terrible. That shit looked like it was filmed with my iPhone over the damn ring, and it just looked terrible. And nobody paid attention. Nobody cared. Nobody paid attention. Even if they had amazing matchups, it is what it is. So now that we actually have, now that we're there with Showtime, one of the things I really wanted to see was the production value. And boy, they did not fucking disappoint. They did not disappoint. The production value when the lights came on, the initial B-roll, everything that they brought to the table looked fantastic. The commentary team, fantastic. Now, they did get rid of Mike Goldberg. Mike Goldberg, if you guys know, is one of the big names, one of the original voices of the UFC. The UFC let him go. He went over to Bellator. Now Bellator's let him go for an actual similar reason that the UFC let him go, which is they're moving in a different direction. In that direction, what that direction actually is that they're using more fighters in the commentary. If you guys actually watched the full show, you would notice that they had AJ McKee up there a lot. But the staples that they have are in-house guys. They have someone who has worked for Showtime on the boxing end as well as the MMA end. One of the OGs, truly my favorite color commentator in the game, Mauro Ranallo. Mauro Ranallo is an absolute legend in the commentary game. He used to do all of the fights for Pride, and he's done so much with like WWE and wrestling and all kinds of other shit. Mauro Ranallo is that fucking dude. Amazing, great call. But on that, they also have Josh Thompson, the Punk. They have Big John McCarthy. And those three names, Big John and not CM Punk, Josh Thompson, have a podcast together. They're already with Bellator. It makes a lot of sense. So that's their commentary team with fighters sprinkled in. It makes sense. And you know what? It was good. It was good. It wasn't any fluff. They knew what they were talking about. And the only knock that I know a lot of people end up having with Mike Goldberg is, Mike Goldberg doesn't seem to really know the fucking fights. He doesn't seem like he knows the fights. He doesn't really seem like he knows the fighters. He almost comes off as, and I know people get all shitty and bent out of shape when I say this, but he does come off as a casual. He comes off as somebody who really doesn't understand, know, and has never really felt the sport itself, right? So they've done that. They made it. And then now let's go to the fights. The fights, top to bottom, we had finishes. We had entertaining fights. We also had up-and-coming prospect. A couple notables that I got to talk out. Obviously, Usman Nurmagomedov, the top prospect for Bellator. Somebody that UFC really wanted. And who is he? Of course, he's Khabib Nurmagomedov, the greatest lightweight of all time. That is his little cousin that's been training with him since he was a kid. Now, does he fight the same way as Khabib does? Not at all. Usman is a nasty kickboxer. Can he wrestle? Absolutely. He still has that Dagestani wrestling, but his style is so much more kick heavy. The similarities are when they actually get on the ground. Once Usman gets on top of you, that ground and pound is fucking vicious, okay? Usman Nurmagomedov is an absolute killer, and I'm so happy to see him with that. Total side note, can we give Khabib the coach of the year already? Fam, he's 5-0. And these Dagestanis with him are just wrecking shop. I love everything I'm seeing with Khabib. I love that Khabib is really starting to mentor these guys. But that's a notable with Usman. They had a lot of other guys up and coming. They look good. Obviously, they had AJ McKee, who is, in my opinion, the best up-and-coming MMA fighter in the world. He fights for Bellator. So they had him at the desk because he already knocked out his whole side of the bracket. Since he knocked out that side of the bracket, he was waiting for the champion. It was the headlining event, Emmanuel Sanchez against Patricio Pitbull. And this was a rematch. This is a rematch that, in my personal opinion, even though Patricio Pitbull is known as the GOAT of Bellator, he's known as the greatest Bellator fighter of all time. And now I know when I say that shit, a lot of people look at it and say, Serg, come on. Does that mean he's even that good? Does he mean he's that good if we really think about it? I mean, he's the Bellator guy, the greatest Bellator champion of all time. How would he stack up with the UFC guys? Well, look, I'll be here to tell you, I absolutely believe that he is currently, today, right now, probably the top 3 featherweights in the world. You have Alexander Volkanovski, you have Max Holloway in no particular order. And then at the number 3 spot, I would absolutely have to say you have to have Patricio Pitbull. That is how good he is. How good is he? Remember, he is also the champ for Bellator. He has the 155-pound title. How did he win that 155-pound title? Oh, well, he knocked out in the first round Michael Chandler, who is currently fighting for the UFC's lightweight title coming up next against Charles do Bronx. So think about how good that is. He moved up a weight class, knocked out the champion, and now he came back down and he's defending his belts. Dude is an absolute savage. I am not a fan of his coach, Eric Albarracin, in terms of his personality and like the cringiness of it. But that dude is a hell of a coach. And the people that he has on his roster, he has the Pitbull brothers. He has Henry Cejudo. He has El Vino in Bohachina, Polo Costa, El Vino, and so much more, man. It is a great, great team. He's doing an amazing job there. So watching these guys develop and do their thing is amazing. So now, he's going out there and fighting Emmanuel Sanchez, which, like I said before, was a rematch 3 years in the making. And Emmanuel Sanchez took him to the brink. Dropped him in the first round and looked like he could have won the fight. The fight, in my opinion, was 2-2 going into the 5th. And then Pitbull showed his his toughness, his championship balls, cojones. You know what I'm saying? He showed that. And he was able to go out there and get a dominant fifth round and win the fight. So with all that being said, a lot of us were like, okay, this is going to be a good fight. If we look at the development of both guys, Sanchez has gotten leaps and bounds better than when he was last out here. And now he's a finisher. He's finishing guys. He's dominating guys on each end. So we were able to see that. But this fight came up. I had it as a pick'em fight. I might have even been leaning towards the underdog because it was good money, right? And Pitbull went out there and just dominated him. Gets a first round submission win with about 2 minutes left from the very first round. Hurt Sanchez and ended up jumping on a guillotine, put him to sleep. Amazing performance. And it really made me think about, again, who is the best? Is no questions asked. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Pitbull is the greatest Bellator fighter of all time. And like I said, he is in the top 3, regardless of organization. And he might arguably be number 1. If he ended up coming to the UFC, would he win the championship? I don't know. But I tell you one thing, he beat most of the guys. I would love to see him fight Alexander Volkanovski. I think the height they're similar stature, they're similar builds. You have one guy that has dynamite in his hands with the amazing ground game, and you have another guy who is a physically imposing guy that has a very tactical game in which he's going out there and utilizing a lot of feints and movement and misdirection to win. So it would be a very interesting chess match, what I think would really be great for MMA. I don't believe it's going to happen anytime soon, but it would be an amazing fight to watch. Now, him versus Max Holloway, I think Max is too big. I think Max's height and his angles would end up being too much for Pitbull. But with that being said, I don't fucking know. We don't know. So amazing fight, man. Amazing fighter. He moves on to fight AJ McKee. Like I said, the prospect. And this is a very interesting fight for Bellator. And I say it's an interesting fight because of this. Okay, damn, I'm kicking the camera and shit for you guys. The reason I say it's an interesting fight is because you have a guy that literally has had all of his professional fights in his entire career have been with this organization. Literally every single fight that he has 13-0, whatever he is, all of them with Bellator. So you have a guy that is a homegrown prospect. He literally is everything that we wanted Aaron Pico to be. We wanted Aaron Pico to be this guy who's just dominating, going out there. He can still be that guy. I'm not taking shit away from Aaron Pico, but what I will say is this. He's one of those guys that is extremely dynamic. He is legacy. His father was an amazing fighter. And he is finishing guys that are known as some of the best in the world. In incredible fashion at that. So this fight is against that guy, against arguably the greatest fighter not even arguably, the greatest fighter in the organization's history. So it's a crossroads matchup for the organization and for both guys. This is a fight also that we can actually see even if whoever wins the belt at 145 pounds, because the winner of this fight will end up being the tournament champion at featherweight as well as the champion at featherweight. Whoever wins this, also, they say he'll probably move up and fight the champion at 155 pounds, and that is Pitbull also. So a lot of things happen in this one. I love it. The winner, like I said, not only is the champion, gets a tournament final, also gets $1 million payday. I love this. This is fucking great. All right, that was the first that they had, just recapping UFC Bellator 255. Now, this upcoming weekend on Friday again, Bellator is coming out with some more heat, and they have Bellator 256, and that card is headlined by Ryan Bader, the heavyweight champion. He's no longer the light heavyweight champion, and he's fighting against Lyoto Machida. This is also a rematch years and years and years in the making, okay? This is for the 200. This is the inaugural event for the 205-pound tournament. That's the same event that we actually have Rumble Johnson versus Yoel Romero, which comes up in a month, and so much more. This is going to be an amazing, amazing tournament, and honestly, this is going to be some of the best theater in all of MMA this year. So you have Ryan Bader versus Lyoto Machida. Ryan Bader 27-6, Lyoto Machida 26-10. Both men are actually on a 2-fight losing streak. Lyoto Machida to Phil Davis and Gegard Mousasi, both via decisions. No shame in that. And now Ryan Bader had lost to Czech Congo, as well as Vadim Minkoff, the new 205-pound title via knockout, okay? So neither guy over the last year has really been doing that well. Ryan Bader at 205 recently just got knocked out. Now, is this a fight that I believe he can win? Absolutely. He's already beaten this dude, Lyoto Machida, even though he's looked good. He's like 43 years old. And Father of Time comes for us all, people. Let's just keep it a beam. I see this being a fight that Ryan Bader ends up winning, but he's headlining that event. I'm very curious to see how that's going to go out. Also, a couple notables on this card. Yeah, the return of Kat Zingano. We have not seen Alpha Cat in such a long time. I cannot wait to see her come out here. We also have Adam Borix, the monster at featherweight. And we also have Liz Carmouche. So we have some big names on this card. It's going to be entertaining. Is it going to be as good as last week's card? In terms of name recognition and big like pay-per-view type of events, no, not at all. But what we are going to have is just some solid quality MMA. And I'm happy to see that Bellator is starting to really pump out good events with, like I said, now that they were Showtime, the production value is going to be fucking nuts. I cannot wait. All right, let's go ahead and take a little sip, man. You guys see it. Everybody who is listening to the podcast, thank you guys for checking us out live on Apple, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Check us out at thefightpodcast.com. Listen, like, subscribe, and share. All right, take a quick sip. Shout out to The Grocery. So this is mugs from The Grocery here in LA, man. Are one of my personal favorite dispensary. Not that far from the crib, but just looks like an Apple store. Just a beautiful spot. Products are amazing. Salute to them. You know what I'm saying? We got to get a little. Wait, where is it at? Little, you know how we get down. Yo, if you guys, speaking of The Grocery, if you have not had opportunity to check it out, please check out our first episode of High Kickin'. High Kickin' is our weed-friendly, cannabis-friendly episodes where we smoke bud with some of our favorite fighters, and we don't talk about fights. We actually talk about just life, have a good time, favorite strains, best smoke sessions, and all kinds of shit. For the first episode, I was honored to have as a guest on our show, we had Uncle Creepy Ian McCall joined us on there. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's everywhere podcasting is available, as well as you can actually watch it on YouTube, the full episode, and you can check out the full episode right on our IG page. Check us out at The Fight Podcast, okay? You see it right there. Wait, there it is right there, this side. There, bang, bang, bang. All right. Moving right along. Today, we actually have some more fights, and like I said, I really want to make sure I'm highlighting some of these other organizations. I feel like a lot of people, and it drives me crazy when I hear people say, yo, so you're into UFC. Well, yeah, I'm into UFC, but UFC isn't MMA. I'm into MMA. UFC just happens to be the biggest organization, the best produced organization. So obviously we're going to pay attention to that. But some of these other organizations are incredible, seriously incredible. And I know a lot of us give a lot of shit to One Championship, Asia's premier organization over there. They give it to because Chatri, the CEO, the head of the guy, seems like he might embellish some things a bit. He might, inflate numbers, like all the rappers are doing now. People, inflating they Spotify numbers and they Billboard charts. We get it. We see it. That's how they do it. But they still put on a great product. And one of the things that they're doing, they're finally coming over to the American audience. Now, this fight is still in Singapore, but it is going to be prime time here in the States. The card itself will air at 10 p.m. At 10 p.m. Eastern time starts the main card, 7 p.m. Eastern time, or should I say Pacific time here on the West Coast. And but it's going to be an amazing card. And if you have not checked out One Championship, you need to. And the reason you need to is this. Not only they switch around the rules a little bit. You can fight a MMA fight in a ring. You can fight a kickboxing fight in a cage. In the same event, you'll have MMA and Muay Thai and kickboxing. They'll have Muay Thai fights. So Muay Thai is a form of kickboxing. They'll have that with the little glove, with the MMA gloves. So they'll do a lot of different things and take some liberties within the sport, which I truly, as a fan, enjoy. I also really enjoy a lot of I'm a huge kickboxing fan. My background's in kickboxing and Muay Thai. So I love that shit. And I've always watched it ever since like the K1 days. I mean, I'm a huge Bull Cow fan. So I love Muay Thai, Senchai and all those dudes. So watching somebody, bring that there and actually have that now mixed in with amazing MMA fights like Demetrius Johnson. The fact that we have somebody like Ratatag, who, if you haven't checked it out, is a 23-year-old savage little Thai guy. And he is, in my opinion, one of my favorite, if not my favorite Muay Thai fighter that I've ever seen. He is on this card. I put his clips up on our IG page. Remember, at the Fight Podcast all the time. I put it up there all the time. And he is extremely durable. He is an all-action fighter. He is extremely technically skilled, and he is just an absolute savage. He walks down with his hands down. He'll get punched in the face and pound his fucking chest and shit. The dude is a beast, and he wins. And he actually wins, okay? Absolute savage. I cannot wait to see this, but this is going to be on TNT. TNT now has the NBA and one championship. If you can't watch it on TNT, because I understand a lot of us don't have TNT. A lot of us don't have fucking cable. We all have internet and Apple TVs and whatever the hell else you guys have. Rokus and shit. Well, if you have that, go ahead and download the Bleacher Report app. Because if you download the Bleacher Report app, you can actually watch it there also. That's what I'm doing. And I can't wait. So they're doing that. It's going to be, like I said, 10 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Pacific time on TNT and Bleacher Report. On this, we're going to get some pretty dope fights. Let me go ahead and start from the top going down. I had to write this shit down because it's a couple of them. I want to make sure I'm getting all this shit right. So we have to kick it off. Demetrius Johnson is going out there and he is challenging Adriano Morales for the flyweight championship, okay? This is going to be an amazing fight. Demetrius Johnson, as we know, arguably the greatest fighter of all time. Yes, regardless on organization, regardless on weight class, pound for pound, number one, in my opinion, still to this day, Demetrius Johnson. He won the flyweight tournament. That is why he has the opportunity to go ahead and fight for the belt. And now Morales is going to go out there and fight. Now, he has a one-fight win streak, and I'm talking about the champion, Morales. He did lose a split decision to the same guy, ended up getting his belt back. He's won 6 out of his last 8 fights. But here's the thing. The dude is a real problem. He trains at American Top Team. We all know how amazing American Top Team is, man. They're, if not the best team in MMA, they're top 3, okay? And when I say top 3, I probably mean top 2. They're that dope in American Top Team. That's the home of Amanda Nunes, Jorge Masvidal, and the list goes on and on. I could just say those 2 guys and it's it. But there's so many more. Joanna Jacek. The list goes on and on. Excuse me. He's a much taller guy than Demetrius Johnson. He's amazing on the ground. And don't forget, yes, it's a flyweight tournament, but these guys actually fight at their natural weight. So they're really around 135 pounds. That's where they weigh in at. And that's because everything with one championship, they bumped up. They have hydration testing. How effective is it? I don't really know. But what they end up doing is making sure that everybody goes up there and actually fights where the normal weight should be. So everyone essentially ended up bumping up 10 pounds. The flyweight 125 pounders now fight 135. 135 pounders fight 145, so on and so forth. So you guys kind of understand what's going on with one championship. That's how they do it. Nobody else does it. That's how they do it. So he does possess a lot of problems. Amazing ground game. The biggest problem he possesses is his length. Super long for the weight class. I think the dude's like 5'11" and fighting at 125 pounds. It's nuts. I still believe Demetrius Johnson is too good, and I believe he's going to end up winning this fight and end up getting this title, but it's going to be a great fight. We need to check that out. Also on this fight card, we have the return of the Underground King, Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez, the former UFC and former Bellator champion. He's had a rough go of it with one championship. He got knocked out in his first fight. He's getting teed off on his second fight, but he ended up digging deep, getting a reversal, and ended up submitting the former one champion at 155 pounds, or at lightweight, should I say. So he is fighting Yuri Lapkus. Yuri Lapkus is an Italian prospect, okay? He's an Italian prospect who is trained and is under the tutelage of the greatest kickboxer of all time, Giorgio Petrosian, Mr. Perfect. This kid, if you haven't checked him out, you need to. His striking is incredible. He's extremely explosive, and he has ground. He's finished every opponent that he's been in there with, and I will be very honest with you. I absolutely expect him to do the exact same thing to Eddie Alvarez, even though I have a lot of love and respect for Eddie Alvarez, who follows the Fight Podcast. Much love for you, my brother. Half Puerto Rican. I appreciate you. Italian kid's probably going to kick his ass. Should be a good fight. Also in that fight, like I said, that amazing kid, Tag is on there. He is fighting Delaney Williams. That is going to be in a Muay Thai fight. Amazing matchup. And also notable on this is Rougarou, who is a Senegalese wrestling champion. Absolute beast of a man. You need to check him out. He's fighting on that card as well. This is a good card. This is a very, very, very good card. It's not like this is a good card for one championship. No, this is a good card for anybody, okay? You should check it out. That is going to be Wednesday evening tonight. If you're listening to this today, Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Pacific. That's when the main card starts. It's going to be a good time. Check that out. All right. Man. It's a lot of good fights, yo. A lot of fucking good fights coming out. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Amazing time out there. It's starting to get a little nicer out here. Weather's getting good. I mean, it's been nice here everywhere. I live in LA. What can I say? But weather's been amazing. I know it's getting really nice everywhere else. And people are going back outside. People are getting vaccinated and shit. So things are kind of smooth, man. It's looking good. But you know what else is looking good? Well, let me rephrase that. You know what's not looking good? Yo, so UFC and Venom deal has officially started. Let's go ahead and move to fight news, guys. So UFC and Venom deal has officially started and the kits were revealed. Let me go ahead and pull this out. I got a little video for you guys. And for those of you guys who are listening on the podcast, you can hear what's going on and I break it down for you because I'll be talking throughout anyways because that's how I get down. Here's a video the UFC has recently released. And in that video, they actually do their Venom thing, and this is how they introduce Venom. Check it out.
It's been a long journey for the true believers.
Has it
who
been
championed MMA before it was fashionable. Through the ups and downs, many have come and gone.
Aldo, the legend.
While two iconic brands stayed in the fight.
I'm turning the page and breaking away.
The UFC and Venom are pioneers of combat sports.
They really have been around for a long
Bold
time.
innovators and history makers who shaped the future by delivering what fans want.
We're waiting
and
for.
what fighters
Here's the
need.
big reveal. What do these uniforms look
Today,
like?
with mixed martial arts surging in global popularity, the UFC and Venom have joined forces.
Oh shit.
And the next evolution in combat sports is just getting started.
I'm just getting started.
What?
You can knock me down.
That's
Never
it.
knock me out. Came back feeling brand new. Tell me how you like me now.
When you find the perfect fit, it just feels right.
All right. So I'm gonna stop the video because obviously I don't want this to get flagged, and that's why I was talking over it the whole time and stuff. But we saw what they look like. Those are the Venom UFC kits, otherwise known as. It looks exactly like the Reebok kit, fam. That shit's ass. I was thinking about it, and I know people are saying, "Oh, look how much better they fit," and look how. This is what you guys came up with. You took the Reebok kits and just put some lions on it, fam. I am not, in the words of Rush, not even GSP, the words of Rush, I am not impressed by your performance. This is just not bro, that's just not it. I guess Reebok still does their shoes or whatever, but this is just, I think it's not a good look. Really, they're not creative. They're just basic. I don't know. They're just basic ass uniforms. So the fact that they're just basic ass uniforms, for me, I just look at it and say, I mean, it is what it is. The fighters truly aren't getting anything extra because the UFC also at the same token ended up releasing and I don't have those numbers right now for you, but they released the incentives that the fighters actually receive now. So the fighters essentially get a $2,000 pay bump depending on wherever they are. So essentially, if they're a champion, I think they got something like $40,000 per for their fights with their endorsements, and now they get $42,000, and so on and so forth. Everybody ends up getting $2,000 more, which, if we actually look at inflation over the last couple of years, it's pretty much exactly what it would end up being. So essentially, the fighters aren't getting anything better at all. So the fighters aren't getting anything better, and the uniforms, in my opinion, look ass. So it is what it is. I guess that's what they want to do. I liked it better when fighters had a little bit more opportunity and they can create their own things. I would rather see a fighter with Condom Depot on his ass than actually seeing what they're doing now. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. It is what it is. Some people like it. I think they look terrible. All right. Moving right along, also out of the UFC, we already know that the champion at 145 featherweight, Alexander Volkanovski, had to pull out of his fight because, unfortunately, he ended up getting COVID, and he had to end up getting pulled out of his fight versus Brian Ortega. Well, that fight is still coming to fruition, but not before they are going to end up coaching, and it was announced this weekend also. Brian Ortega versus Alexander Volkanovski will coach the new season of The Ultimate Fighter on ESPN. It is what it is. Unfortunately, I'm not happy with this, and the reason I'm going to say I'm not happy with it is this. This pushes this amazing weight class back so far. If they have The Ultimate Fighter, which is going to be for at least 2 months, that means we're not going to end up seeing this championship fight till at least November, December, which in turn ends up stalling this weight class. It's a terrible move. It sucks that it happened. But again, it is what it is. I think this also says a couple different things. Because this is on ESPN now, The Ultimate Fighter that is, they're hoping to continue really to leverage the stardom of either the Oceanic region and Alexander Volkanovski, or that tells me that they really believe in the star power that they have with LA's very own Brian Ortega. So we're going to see what happens with that. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that one. All right. Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor 3 has been signed. That is happening on July 10th. Big fight card. It seems like Dustin Poirier said, fuck it, I'm going to go ahead with that red panty night one more time. He's going to go ahead and get paid. I think for him, it's the right move. Easy money. I'll discuss this fight a little bit more moving forward. But that trilogy is happening July 10th. Also on that card, the UFC just went out there and just announced a slew of big announcements. They have Gilbert Burns versus Wonderboy Thompson. That is the co-main event for that July 10th card. That's UFC 264. June 19th, you have Korean Zombie versus Dan Ige for at featherweight. That is going to be an incredible fight with contender, matchups in the balance for that one. That's coming up, like I said, June 19th. On June 26th, we have Cyril Gane, the heavyweight contender, the monster up-and-comer. He's fighting the heavyweight contender, Alexander Volkov. The winner of that fight, I thoroughly believe, will be in the queue. I'm not going to say they're going to be next up, but they'll be in the queue for that title picture, and that happens June 26th. That is a UFC fight night. This one actually surprised me. We have Damian Maia, and this is going to be his retirement fight, it sounds like, against Bilal Muhammad. Chicago's very own Bilal Muhammad. That fight is happening June 12th. That's UFC 263. One of my personal favorites, Angela Hill, is fighting Amanda Ribas. That's coming up May 10th. That's UFC Fight Night. That's going to be a strawweight bout I cannot wait for, with title implications there. We also have, in the same weight class, Macy Chiasson against Aspen Ladd. I'm sorry, that's at 135. That's July 24th, a UFC Fight Night. And then last but certainly not least, we have Macy Barber versus Miranda Maverick. This is a very important fight for Macy Barber, somebody that a lot of us believe was going to be the next big thing for women's MMA. She's on a 2-fight losing streak, and she is fighting, in my opinion, the best up-and-comer in the weight class in Miranda Maverick. Amazing fight there, man. So, UFC is putting on some shows, all right? Seriously, a lot of amazing content and amazing fights the UFC is putting on. They did drop that shit right there for Bellator, like, during their time. Kind of felt like they were maybe trying to shit on them a little bit, but regardless, Bellator is doing their thing. One Championship is doing their thing. We'll be watching those fights and fight cards this weekend. Before we get out of here, I'd be remiss to talk about this. It looks like John Jones is about to shit the bed. Okay. John Jones says he deserves to fight against Francis Ngannou. He deserves about around $100 or $25 million. So he's like 8 to 10 million is nowhere near enough. He usually gets 6, 8 to 10 isn't even enough. He needs that. Seems like he's pissed off the UFC. UFC seems as if they're moving on to Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. John Jones seems like he might end up waiting this thing out. I think he's going to end up, I don't know. I think he's coming off as entitled this one. I'm usually with the fighters, but we have to take into account all the fuck shit that he's done over the years. And if you take account all the fuck shit that he's done over the years and how the UFC has really had his back, and here's the most important thing. He has never had a pay-per-view that sells over 500,000. He's actually never had one that sold over 400,000 if it did not also include Daniel Cormier. Out of the top crop of UFC champions and fighters, the most popular guys, the people that have pay-per-view buys, he's by far the least popular. He doesn't sell as much as Amanda Nunes. He doesn't even sell as much as Max Holloway. So, and this is a guy that's a champion. I'm telling you right now, John Jones, I think, is making a miscalculation. Do I want him to get paid? Yes. Do I deserve he gets at least 10 million? Yes. He's earned that. But 25 million, dude, you're not going to get that, especially when you're going out there to try to air that shit out in a public forum on Twitter and shit. Fam, he talked about this months ago. He's trying to bring it back up now. If they didn't pay you then, I doubt that they're going to pay you now. Fam, it's not looking good. I think John shit the bed. I think they're going to end up moving on from him. And here's the thing. If they move on from him and they have that Derek Lewis fight, he might be finding himself in no man's land. And that would be crazy to think John Jones finds himself in no man's land. All right. With that being said, that's about all the time we have for today, guys. This has been episode 280. Morning coffee and fight news of the Fight Podcast. I am your host, Serg Vicente. I appreciate you guys, everyone who's watching live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Thank you guys for joining us on the show today. Listen everywhere on the podcast. It's available: Apple, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Check us out at thefightpodcast.com. Listen, like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to check out also on all podcasting platforms. Brothers in Combat is my spinoff podcast with my brother Mystic Black, or Darnell Giovanni of Mystic Black. Also check out his show, and check out our other show, High Kicking It with Serg Vicente. All right? Okay. Love you guys. This has been episode 280 of the Fight Podcast. Check out the fights this weekend. We have some amazing fights coming up. One championship, Bellator, and so much more. Love you guys. See you soon. I'm your boy Serg Vicente.